The trap around Earth, the night sky above Earth, was no longer filled with stars. It was filled with ships. Thousands of alien vessels hovered in silent formation, their lights shining like cold eyes. They formed a wall around the planet, blocking every escape route. From the moon to the edge of Mars' orbit, nothing could enter, nothing could leave Dot to the rest of the galaxy. It was over. Humanity was trapped. The alien fleet had come from many empires' rivals who had joined forces for one purpose: to end the humans before they could grow too strong. They remembered human victories, the stubborn fights, the unexpected triumphs, and they were afraid. So now they had brought overwhelming force. On the bridge of the Koresh flagship, Admiral Vakar stood tall, his red scales glowing under the fall. Command lights. He stared at Earth through the viewport and hissed with satisfaction. Finally, he growled, the predators are in the cage. Let them see what true power looks like. His officers bowed, claws clicking against the floor. The alien fleet was confident. Why shouldn't they be? Humanity's fleets were nowhere to be seen. No human ship had come to challenge them. Earth was silent. The silence on Earth, on the planet below, fear gripped the population. Cities had gone. Dark at night, their lights dimmed to avoid drawing fire from orbit. Families huddled in underground shelters. Children whispered questions their parents couldn't answer. Will they bomb us? Why aren't our ships fighting? Are we already defeated? But inside the military command bunker beneath the Rockies, the atmosphere was strangely calm. General Armin stood at the center table, watching alien fleet movements on the glowing holomap. His officers waited for orders, sweat on their brows. Yet Armin's voice was steady, almost quiet. They believe they have trapped us, he said. Good. Let them believe it. One young officer frowned. Sir, with respect, we are trapped. They have thousands of ships. Earth's orbital guns won't last an hour against that kind of firepower. Armin's eyes narrowed. An hour is more than enough. The galaxy watches news of Earth's siege spread fast. Across the stars, in council halls and marketplaces, alien citizens watch live feeds of the blockade. They're finished, one voice said. Finally, the humans will be crushed, another agreed. They were clever, yes, but not clever enough to face this many fleets. On the Galactic Council's high balcony, alien leaders whispered among themselves. Some smirked, pleased to see humanity brought low. Others frowned, uneasy with the silence. Why do they not resist? One counselor muttered. Why do the humans just wait? But no one had an answer. The mockery begins from orbit. Admiral Vakar opened a transmission, broadcasting directly to Earth's surface. His scaled face filled every human screen, his voice dripping with arrogance. Humans of Earth, he declared, you are surrounded. Your fleets are broken, your allies absent, your skies filled with my ships. You have only two choices: surrender or be reduced to ashes. He paused, letting the silence hang. Choose quickly. Your planet is fragile, and my patience is short. Across Earth, people froze as his words echoed. Some wept. Some cursed. Some waited for their leaders to respond, but the human channels stayed silent. No answer came. The alien fleet laughed. On the Koresh bridge, Vakar smirked. Cowards. They won't even speak. The calm before the storm back in the bunker, General Armin folded his hands behind his back. His officers looked at him with unease. Sir, should we respond? One asked. Armin shook his head. Not yet. Silence is our weapon. The officer blinked. Weapon? With all respect, silence won't stop orbital cannons. Armin's lips curved into the faintest smile. It will stop something far greater, their confidence. The room fell silent. None of the officers fully understood, but they trusted the steel in his voice. The suspense builds in orbit. Alien fleets tightened their formations. The longer Earth stayed silent, the more uneasy some captains became. Why do they not fight? One asked. Where are their ships? Another demanded. Is this a trap? Vakar snarled at the doubts. Fools, humanity is broken. They are finished. Yet even he felt the unease prickling at the back of his mind, because something was wrong. Too wrong. Humanity was never this quiet. The Council's mockery in the great chamber of the Galactic Council. The air buzzed with excitement. Dozens of species filled the curved rows of seats, their voices rising like a storm. Above them, giant holoscreens projected live images of Earth, now wrapped in the steel cage of the alien fleet, to the galaxy. It looked like the end of humanity. One delegate, a scaled officer from the Drivek Union, stood tall and laughed. Look, at them. Earth has no way out. The mighty humans are nothing but prey, caught in a net. A winged elder from the Vayari added with a sharp tone. Their arrogance led them here. They built ships, they fought wars, they thought themselves clever. Now they learn what happens when prey challenges predators. The chamber echoed with agreement. Laughter rolled through the seats like thunder. For centuries, humanity had been a rising problem in galactic politics. Too bold, too stubborn, too unpredictable. Now, with the combined fleets of rival empires around Earth, many in the Council felt safe enough to mock them openly. The official statement, the Council speaker, an ancient being with silver feathers, tapped her staff for silence. Her eyes gleamed. As she spoke, delegates of the Council, today we witness history. The humans, a young species who clawed their way into the stars, now face their end. Surrounded, powerless, they can no longer defy order. Her words carried weight, and many delegates clapped their claws, wings, or hands in approval. The speaker's voice grew sharper. This council warned them many times. We told them to bow, to stay small, to know their place. But they did not. Listen, now their punishment is clear for all to see. The declaration was broadcast across hundreds of worlds. Billions of aliens watched the speaker's face and nodded, certain the human threat was finished. The mockery spreads in taverns, marketplaces, and orbital stations. Aliens laughed at the broadcast. Did you hear? The humans are finally trapped. Yes, their fleets are gone, their world surrounded. They will beg soon. Good riddance. They were always too dangerous. Stories spread fast, each one painting the same picture. Earth's end was near. Council worlds. Children pointed at the holoscreens and asked, Are those the monsters? Are they gone now? Parents nodded with relief. Yes, the monsters will be gone soon. The galaxy celebrated early, but beneath the surface of their cheers was something else relief. Deep down, they feared humanity's rise, and now they believed it had been stopped. The human silence, but while the galaxy mocked, Earth remained silent. No human message came. No surrender, no begging, no anger. This silence bothered some of the older delegates. A long-bodied serpent hissed softly from her seat. Why do they not speak? Even prey cries when the predator closes in. Another elder, his fur gray and thin, frowned. Yes, humans are loud creatures. They shout, they fight, they threaten. But now, nothing. It is strange. Their words were drowned out by the noise of laughter. Few cared about human silence. Few noticed that Earth was not panicking in the way prey usually does. The hidden calm far away. Inside Earth's underground command centers, officers watched the same broadcasts. They saw the council mocking them, calling them prey, calling them. Finished. One young lieutenant clenched his fists. They laugh at us, sir. The whole galaxy thinks it's over. General Armin's face was calm, his voice like steel. Good. Let them laugh. Laughter blinds the arrogant. When they laugh, they do not see the knife behind them. The room went quiet. The officers exchanged uneasy looks, but in their eyes, sparks of hope flickered. Their general knew something the galaxy did not. Out in the chamber back in the council hall, a small disagreement broke out. A delegate from the Zalan species leaned forward, his voice uncertain. Something is wrong. Why would the humans not resist? Their fleets were never weak. They are not cowards. The Koresh senator snapped back, his scales flashing red. Do not be fooled. They are broken. Their silence is fear, but the Zalan did not look convinced. He muttered quietly, "No." Their silence feels like waiting. The silence before the strike. The alien fleet tightened its grip around Earth. Thousands of ships hung in the void, their weapons primed, their engines humming with quiet menace. Every path of escape was blocked, every orbit filled with hostile. Firepower dot from above. The blue and green planet looked helpless, small against the steel ring of ships. For the invaders, it was the perfect victory, and yet Earth did not answer. The waiting game on the Koresh flagship, Admiral Vakar, paced across the command deck. His claws tapped against the floor, eyes fixed on the holoscreens showing Earth's defenses. Still no signal from the humans? He demanded. His officers bowed. None, Admiral. No surrender. No transmission. They remain silent. Vakar snarled. Then they are already broken. Prey too afraid to cry. But his words didn't hide the truth. He was uneasy. In his long career, he had fought many species. Prey always screamed, begged, or fought back desperately when cornered. Humanity's silence felt different. It wasn't panic. It was patience. The uneasy captains across the alien fleet, captains whispered doubts. Why do they not launch fighters? Where are their fleets? Where are their hidden guns? This silence. It feels wrong. One captain growled, Bah! They are finished. The council is right. They have no cards left to play. But another muttered, If that is true, why do I feel like we are the ones being hunted? On Earth's surface in underground bunkers across Earth, civilians huddled close to radios and screens. They could see alien ships blotting out the stars, yet no orders came, no alarm screamed. Their leaders remained calm. One mother whispered to her child, Don't be afraid. We are not trapped. The child frowned. But they're everywhere. The mother glanced at the ceiling, where the ground above shook faintly from passing warships. Her lips curved into a small, secret smile. Yes, but our people are clever. Cleverer than they know. The command bunker deep under the Rockies. General Armin studied the holomap. Red markers showed alien ships encircling the planet, a perfect ring of steel. His officers stood ready, tense and anxious. They've broadcast their threats 3 times now, sir, one reported. No sign of movement from them since. Armin nodded. They expect us to break, to cry out, to beg, but we will not. Another officer leaned forward. General, when do we move? Armin's lips curved into the faintest smile. Soon. For now, we let the silence grow louder. Every second they wait, their confidence cracks. The officers exchanged uneasy glances, but they trusted him. After all, this was not the first. Time humanity had been underestimated. The alien frustration in the council chamber far away, the delegates grew restless. The holoscreen still showed Earth quiet, no sign of resistance. This is boring, one delegate hissed. Why do the humans not fight? Another complained. Perhaps they know the end is already written. But in the shadows of the chamber, the Zalan delegate leaned closer to his neighbor and whispered, No, this silence, it feels like the eye of a storm. The crack in the fleet by the 4th day, alien captains began to lose discipline. Some pushed their fleets closer, trying to provoke a human response. Others fired warning shots into Earth's atmosphere, scorching clouds and seas. Still, Earth said nothing. In the Koresh flagship, Vakar slammed his claw on the console. They mock us with their silence. Very well. If they will not answer, then we burn their world to ash. But just as he prepared to give the order, an officer interrupted, his face pale. Admiral, sensors detect distortions. Behind us, the room froze. Behind us, Vakar snarled. Impossible. Our scanners see all. The officer's voice shook, yet something moves there. Shadows, shapes. But they vanish when we focus. The shadows of space, the alien fleet floated in perfect formation around Earth. Thousands of ships glowed like stars made of steel, their weapons locked. On the blue planet below, to them, victory was already decided, but their scanners began to whisper a different story. The first distortions on the Koresh flagship, alarms beeped softly. A young officer stared at his console, his scaled hands trembling. Admiral, I am detecting distortions behind our formation. Faint like ripples in the void. Admiral Vakar snarled. Ripples? Space does not ripple. Check again. The officer swallowed hard. I have checked 3 times. They are moving. Too regular to be random. Another captain from a nearby ship transmitted nervously. We see them too. Shadows across the scanners. Almost like ships. The bridge went silent. The Council's eyes in the Galactic Council chamber. The live feed from orbit flickered with static. Delegates leaned forward, murmuring, What is this? Are their scanners failing? No, it is something else. Look. At the distortions, there is pattern. Impossible. Nothing should be behind them. The humans are surrounded. But not everyone believed that anymore. The Zaylan delegate whispered, I told you. The silence was not fear. It was waiting. Unease among the fleet across the blockade, alien captains grew restless. Some barked orders to tighten shields. Others demanded answers from their scanners. The distortions appeared, vanished, then returned again. It must be ghosts, one officer muttered. Or cloaked ships, another said quietly. The word cloaked spread like poison. The Koresh admiral slammed his fist. No species has cloaking technology advanced enough to hide an entire fleet. But deep inside, even he felt a knot of dread. On Earth's surface in the hidden command bunker, General Armin stood before the holomap. The green pulses of the human fleet glowed faintly behind the alien blockade. His officers leaned forward, eyes wide. They're in position, one whispered. Armin's voice was calm, almost too calm. Good. Keep Earth silent. Let the aliens believe they still hold the cage. Another officer swallowed. And when do we strike, sir? Armin's lips curved into the faintest smile. When their fear is at its sharpest, not before. The shadows grow stronger back in orbit. The alien fleet tried to stay steady. But the shadows grew bolder. Shapes flickered on the edges of scanners' dark hulls, enormous, moving silently like predators in the deep. One Koresh captain shouted through comms, Admiral, we are being surrounded. Vakar roared in fury. Lies, humans have no ships. Left. But even as he shouted, the truth appeared before their eyes. For a moment, just a moment, a shape broke through the cloak, a massive human battleship, scarred and black, sliding silently through the void. Then it vanished again, leaving only ripples. Gasps filled every alien bridge. They're here, one officer whispered in terror. Behind us. The councils panicked. The Galactic Council chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted, wings. Flared, claws slammed against tables. Impossible. They were trapped. How did their fleet escape? The speaker's silver feathers trembled. No, they were never trapped. The humans let us believe it. The calm before the strike on the Koresh flagship, officers screamed for orders. Some wanted to retreat, others to fire in all directions. Vakar bared his fangs, trying to keep control. Hold formation, he barked. They are only shadows. If we break, they win. But his words carried no weight now. The fear had already spread. Across the fleet, captains whispered to themselves, "We are the ones surrounded." The reveal of the fleet for a breathless moment, space itself seemed to bend. The shadows behind the alien blockade rippled like dark water. And then the truth stepped out. One by one, human warships dropped their cloaks, colossal carriers, blade-thin destroyers, heavy dreadnoughts with armor black as night. Hull numbers glowed pale on their sides. Weapon ports opened like rows of cold eyes. They were silent. They were ready. And they were behind the invaders. Across the alien fleet, bridges froze. Impossible. How many are there? Count them now. Where did they come from? Numbers poured onto alien screens. Dozens, then hundreds. The figures climbed until captains stopped counting and simply stared. The trap was not around Earth. The trap was around them. On the Koresh flagship, Admiral Vakar felt his throat tighten. His claws pressed marks into the railing as he watched human dreadnoughts slide into perfect arcs, cutting off every retreat vector. All ships turned rear batteries. He roared. Form about. He stopped. There was no about. Every lane was blocked by human steel. The net closest. The human formation moved like a living thing. Carriers took the high plane. Destroyers skimmed low, engines whispering. Cruiser wings crossed in an X, sealing gaps. Mines glittered like small stars, silently drifting into place. Short, tight bursts of encrypted light flashed between human ships. No open chatter, no taunts. Just cold, professional timing. On Earth's night side, coastal cities looked up and saw it, the bright ring of enemies above, and a second ring forming behind them. People in shelters pressed hands to their mouths. Some cried, some laughed. Many whispered the same word, ambush. Deep under the Rockies, General Armin watched the holomap bloom green. Phase 2, he said. Make it clean. A comms officer nodded. Jamming lattice active in 3, 2. Invisible curtains unfolded across space. Alien channels, filled with static, commands cutting in half, orders repeating, names lost. Fleet coordination frayed like rope under a blade. Signal my left wing, Vakar snapped. Admiral come blockage. Route through reserve. Reserve is down, sir. They're shaping our traffic. Panic leaked into disciplined voices. It spread fast. The council sees in the Galactic Council chamber. Laughter died in a single breath. Holoscreens magnified the human armada's calm lines. Delegates leaned forward, faces pale. The Zaylan delegate spoke first, voice a whisper. They were never in the cage. The speaker's silver feathers trembled. No, she said. The cage was always around the invaders. A young envoy choked on the words. How long did they wait there? An elder answered, long enough. The first message, a wideband transmission, cut through the jamming clear, sharp, unmistakable. It came from a human flagship that had slipped into the enemy's rear center, its hull a matte void that drank starlight. A woman's voice, cool and even, invading fleet. This is Admiral Imani Cade of the Terran Defense. You are in a live kill zone. You will power down primary weapons. You will eject fire control cores. You will prepare for escorted withdrawal. Non-compliance will be answered. The line clicked. Off. No threats. No shouting. Just rules. Alien bridges erupted. Arrogance. Fire now. Break the jamming. Vakar bared his fangs. We blast a path through them. But the tactical map said otherwise. Human destroyers already sat on the exact vectors he needed. Carriers shadowed his carriers. Heavy cruisers matched his weight ship for ship. And behind all that, Earth's ground batteries woke like sleeping giants, their targeting arcs rising to meet the trap. It felt less like facing an opponent, and more like opening a door and walking into a room where every chair had been placed yesterday. Knives in the darksmall. Shapes flickered out from human lines, dart boats, and interceptor lenses. They threaded between alien hulls with surgical precision, never firing, never colliding, just touching. Each touch left a gift: a stuck bay door, a blinded sensor, a frozen turret ring, port guns unresponsive, forward radar dark. Oh, power bleeding, who hit us? I saw nothing. Admiral Vakar's heart hammered. If we cannot see them, we fire by spread. But his gunnery chief shook his head. Spreads require sync, Admiral. The jamming, he swallowed. We will hit our own ships. Every fix was a trap. Every option, already poisoned. Earth speaks a second human transmission rolled out, calm as tide. Final notice. Power down and prepare for tow. You came here to surround Earth. Look at your screens. Look carefully. Then decide. On 100 alien bridges, captains looked. The view hurt to watch. The human fleet was close enough to read hull scars. Close enough to see maintenance hatches. Close enough to end everything in a single breath. And still the humans had not fired. It would be mercy. Some thought that it would be a lesson. Others knew. On council worlds, civilians who had mocked it now stood silent at public screens. Children gripped parents' hands. Priests of a dozen faiths whispered blessings with shaking voices. Humans waited, someone said. They waited and placed us. Fractures a nervous alien captain broke first. Engines flared as his ship lunged for a gap that wasn't a gap at all. 3 human destroyers slid in like doors. No shots. Just presence. The captain cut thrust. Throat dry. Another captain screened to fire. His gunners tried and weapons refused. Safeties frozen by ghost protocols that hadn't existed an hour ago. Vakar felt the fleet's spine bend. Hold, he shouted. If we hold, Admiral, his navigator whispered, eyes wet. We are already held. Silence. Heavy. Final. Shadows in the stars. The alien commander stood frozen, his many eyes fixed on the glowing signatures now appearing. Behind his fleet. They had been so sure Earth was trapped, pinned against its own gravity, well with nowhere to run. But as the scanners updated, the truth hit them like a blow. Hundreds of human ships had already slipped behind their formation hidden, waiting, patient. On Earth, people watched in stunned silence. Families gathered in bunkers, leaders in war rooms, and soldiers in orbital bases. Every screen now showed the impossible. Humanity was not surrounded. Humanity had surrounded them. Admiral Kane's voice filled the command deck of the Resolute. Signal the fleet. Phase 2 begins. His officers moved quickly, their hands steady, though their hearts raced. The trap that was meant for Earth was now closing on the aliens. The alien commander barked orders, his voice sharp with fear. Turn the formation. Defend the rear. But it was already too late. Human warships weren't just behind them. They were everywhere. Hidden in asteroid fields, cloaked near the orbit of Mars, stationed in the shadows of moons. Plasma fire lit the void. Human ships struck with precision, disabling engines, cutting supply lines, tearing holes in the enemy's command structure. The aliens fought back, their numbers still vast, their weapons powerful. But for the first time, they felt hunted. On the ground, citizens of Earth began to cheer as the battle feeds reached them. What had been despair turned into hope, then into pride. Children pointed at the sky. Parents whispered that maybe Just maybe humanity was stronger than anyone had believed. Kane stood tall on the bridge, eyes locked on the chaos unfolding outside. He knew this was not the end, but the beginning of something larger. Humanity had shown its teeth, and the galaxy was watching. The alien commander, surrounded and desperate, finally understood the scale of his mistake. He had thought Earth weak, thought humans desperate prey. But these weren't prey. These were predators who had learned patience. He whispered to himself, a phrase no alien had ever dared to say aloud before. Humans don't just fight. They wait. And in that waiting, they had built the perfect counterattack. The stars themselves seemed to burn brighter as the battle tipped, and Earth's survival turned into humanity's first true victory on a galactic scale. The final blow, battlefield around Earth, had turned into a graveyard of broken ships. Alien cruisers drifted powerless, their hulls torn open, fire spilling into the void. Human warships moved like predators in the dark, fast, precise, relentless. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the Resolute, his eyes cold but steady. "This is it," he said. "Bring the hammer down." The order rippled through the fleet. Hidden reserve ships that had never revealed themselves now emerged from the shadows of Saturn's rings, from the asteroid belt, from Earth's own atmosphere. Humanity's true strength had always been secrecy and patience. And now, in one brutal wave, it was unleashed. The alien commander tried to rally his fleet. His voice shook as he shouted, "Fall back, regroup." But there was no regrouping. Wherever they turned, human ships were already there. The trap had fully closed. Earth's skies lit up with streaks of fire as alien vessels fell, burning in. The atmosphere. Citizens who had once whispered their final prayers now stood outside, staring upward, watching as the predators who had come to enslave them were themselves hunted down. On every channel across the galaxy, the feed was broadcast. Other alien civilizations watched in silence, horrified. They had believed the humans were cornered, powerless, ready to be erased. Instead, they now saw the truth. Humanity had turned a hopeless defense into total domination. The alien commander, realizing defeat, made one last desperate attempt. His flagship charged forward, weapons blazing, a final suicidal strike at Earth itself. "Not today," Kane whispered. The Resolute fired a single devastating shot. The alien flagship split apart, its fragments scattering like dying stars. Silence followed. The war was over. On Earth, people erupted into cheers, tears, and shouts that echoed across cities and bunkers alike. For the first time in history, humanity had not just survived an invasion. They had won. Admiral Kane stood quietly, listening to the sounds of victory through the comms. He knew this was more than a battle. It was a message written in fire across the stars. Humans weren't prey. They weren't weak. They weren't trapped. They were hunters. And the galaxy had just learned the one truth that would echo for centuries. They thought Earth was surrounded, but humanity was already behind them.